Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the XWF Podcast with your host, Chronic Chris Page, them no good bastards, Thunder Knuckles, Bobby Bourbon, and yes, if available, Bearded War Pig. And the action starts now.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the XWF Podcast. Recording again here on a Sunday evening with my two counterparts, them no good bastards. What's going on, guys? Bobby Bourbon, how are you doing today, brother?
Pretty good. I've got strawberries.
No peanuts.
That's about it. I have strawberries. No.
Thunder Knuckles, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm all right. I took a shit, washed my hands, came onto the podcast, and my shit has returned. Welcome back, Corey.
It's good to be here. Side note, I'm glad to hear you washed your hands.
We all are.
I'm actually shocked that he washed his hands, but good job there. Wait a minute, guys. We forgot, ladies and gentlemen, as well as Corey, Bearded War Pig, man. Welcome to the show.
Here?
Just kidding, motherfuckers.
No, War Pig, no, not here. Thanks for joining the program, Pig. That was awesome of you. I'm Chris Page. We're on our road to March Madness, guys. Corey, first of all, welcome back. Appreciate you coming into the show and giving us a little bit of your time. So we start picking your brain, man, on what you think about the happenings of all of the go home shows for March Madness. TK, let's shoot it over your way, man, for Anarchy.
All right, we got Thursday Night Anarchy live from Salt Lake City, Utah, home of the Utes. All right. First match, we have the Internet Championship match, Dean Rose versus the champion, Barney Green. I want to take time to applaud Dean Rose for all of his wonderful work on Twitter.
Shout out to Dean Rose for picking a fight with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yep.
Can we talked about?
Honestly, I think that's the most entertaining thing that's happened all week. It's funny as shit.
Here's a little spoiler. This is our second podcast to record today, and we talked with Vinny and Theo earlier today, and just talk about, first of all, how badass is it, number one, to pick a fight with Freddie Prinze, and the dude fucking answered and looks lame as shit for doing it. Second, apparently, Dean Rose has a legit John Cena check mark for a Twitter follower, and he's had the account for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
I mean, if there is an internet champion in this federation, that motherfucker is it right now. And he just needs to hold it for fucking ever.
I mean, the title's still all based on Twitter shit, social media, right?
I believe so.
Okay. Oh. It's gonna be tough to beat then.
Yes, he's going to be very tough to beat.
Bobby, when you see this Twitter shit with fucking legit Freddie Prinze is arguing with a fucking made up character on Twitter. Did you see that?
I saw it. I think it's brilliant. It's awesome.
That's great.
You know what he's gonna have to do though? He's gonna have to pick a fight with a new D-list celebrity every month just to keep the momentum going.
If anybody can do it, I think it's him.
Who are some D-listers you'd like to see him go after, Corey?
Oh man. I'm trying to think of somebody off the top of my head that I hate.
I think why not go after the D-lister, Miss D-lister herself, Kathy Griffith?
I mean, I don't know if she would take the bait. she strikes me as maybe being savvy enough to not take the bait. It's got to be somebody, somebody who's going to take the bait.
Like a Corey Feldman.
I don't want to pick on Corey Feldman. I mean, probably some, conservative talk radio talking head douchebag would take the bait.
Rush Limbaugh.
He's dead.
He just
Oh,
died.
so-
I think he's
Is that-
that makes it all the more impressive. All right,
Well,
let's get into this.
Dean Rose definitely walked away with that title. Moving on, we have Scarlett the Huntress versus Ash Quinn. Scarlett the Huntress Donaldson walked away the winner. Next up, we have Tula versus Ned K. And Ned comes out the winner via submission. So now Ned has beaten the current, the former, and the former Anarchy champions in like week after week after week. Anybody got a thought on that?
He's looking real good. And Tula is out with like an injury angle now, right?
Mm-hmm.
The character's gonna get written out.
Yes, sir. I think this is a big time win for Ned, and he's just continuing to build that momentum on Anarchy. And we'll talk more about him obviously with Savage and with Warfare. Like, he's all over the place, and he's winning the matches that he needs to win at the time that he needs to win them. I think that he is primed to do some things, and this is just another notch in his belt along that way. Bobby, what do you think, man?
I think Ned K has a lot of it factors. I think Ned K is in development. I think, maybe in a year or two, Ned K is going to be the face of this company. But right now, the way he's building and the way he's growing, this is just another stepping stone for him.
Those strawberries sound really good.
Thank you. They're not really making any sound over here on my end. I don't know what they're saying to you.
I could just hear him talking.
I can't hear my strawberries talking.
You can't?
No.
Oh, I can. They sound delicious. Anyway, we're going to move on to Lord Rab versus John Black. And I believe John Black walks away with this one the winner, and he does. He does. So, has he lost since being on the podcast?
No, JB, good friend of the show, man. Continuing to rack up the wins as JB up until this point.
We got to give it up for John Black. I mean, he's keeping up that momentum streak, that hot streak. He's got a few challenges coming his way, so we'll see how he handles them.
Next up, we got Big Money Oswald versus Solace Tandem in an Extreme Rules match. Solace is really hot right now. Undefeated at this point.
Do we know? Is this somebody like brand new? Like handled by, or not? Somebody that's already been here.
I honestly don't know, but talented.
I mean, because the character seems to have just kind of rolled right in and made herself comfortable. So doing really well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately,
until she ran into Big Money Oswald.
Yep. Big Money Oswald gave her first L on Anarchy.
Which I think that in itself is, it's huge. It's all about how you handle that first loss and how you bounce back from it. Of course, we'll see Solace on Anarchy. On Savage. The saving grace, though, is at least it was via count out and not via pinfall.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an out there for Solace, and she'll bounce back. She's done some things since she's been here. And Corey, I'm not 100% if this is a existing character or existing person that's been here before or not, but she's definitely put in some work and made a name for herself real quick.
Is she still in the top 8 for March Madness?
Yes.
Yes, she's in the Elite Eight.
But we'll get to that when we get to Savage. Right now, we have a segment with Herschel Kiss, and it
Go.
deals with some poop. And we'll just move right along.
Big pudding.
Then we have the main event, Sarah Lachlan versus Big Puddin' Herschel Kiss. And I tell you what, Big Puddin', he's the man, but he didn't make it out of this one. Sarah Lachlan wins the day. Moving on, we have Bob versus Osira Themis and Diesel versus Centrubion. Paige, you got anything for this one?
I wrote this one, so I know how the match flow went, and I know what kind of how the flow went. I thought that Ruby needed a win going into the pay per view number one. Needed a kind of a big win, and I'm not necessarily saying that a win over Diesel and Osira is that, but it's nothing to sneeze at. Like Vinny was talking about on a podcast for the pay per view, the Diesel character can be dangerous if you sleep on him.
Mm-hmm.
But big win for Centrubian, and I know this is like a little sidebar, but Corey, what would you think if like Centurion and Ruby really gave it like a run in the tag division?
I was just about to say that actually. I think that they would be a fantastic addition. I would love to see them do that. I don't know if Ruby has designs on leaving Anarchy at all, but I'd love to see it.
They've done it. I know that
Mm-hmm.
they teamed up one other time against Robert and I, but I don't think that they've like branched out to another show to do it. But I think that would be a solid team to get into the division and to make some shit happen with. Bobby Bourbon, what are your thoughts on this main event with Centribian?
I think that if we've been so focused, me and TK and Corey and everybody that's involved in the tag division in making the tag division grow, Centruvian is just it's a great thing to see just because it's more talent coming to the table. They do have history as a tag team. Come forward and compete as a tag team. Bring the fine talent down to it's kind of like what Corey said. Does Ruby really want to leave Anarchy? And I think easy answer there is not really. Otherwise, she would have by now. But doing tag team projects with Centurion, maybe on pay per views and here and there, maybe even having to bring those titles back to Anarchy and defending them there. So you have to win the titles, Anarchy rules. That can be kind of difficult.
That would be neat, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I agree. That would be an interesting little thing if they could could swing that and make that happen. But regardless, Rubes, Cent, we're talking to you, and we all want to see that happen.
No pressure.
Nah, none at all. I mean, you've got some quality teams in Continuum. You've got them No Good Bastards. You've got DDS. You've got
The Descendants.
the Descendants. You've got if Demos branches out and does this thing with RL, you've possibly got a Demos RL thing that could be happening. There's a lot going on in the tag team division that's about to blow up. I feel and
Did you say the
that
Disintegrators?
the Disintegrators, man. Yeah, I saw that and I wish I knew who handled that team because that would be hilarious. in its own right. I'm actually kind of hoping that the Thugs get in on this tag team turmoil that's coming up next month. But that's next month. That's not now. TK, man.
Well, Anarchy's not done. So now there's an advertisement for the BWO. Fury defends her Bob Heavyweight Championship against JT Washington. And it's a good match. And, Fury walks away, the winner. But the BWO is going to be a new show. A fourth show we'll have to cover. So that's going to be fun.
And what does that stand for?
It's the Bob Wrestling Organization. So really, it would be the BOBWO, but putting baddies in the name of the company sounds like a bad idea. So BWO it is.
That's all. That's pretty much just like an angled thing though now, right? I mean,
Yes.
unless somebody wanted it to be something else.
I'm pretty sure it's just an angled thing, and I think it's only going to be once a month.
Well, there's that. When is this dropping? Or is that?
I'll get back to you on that one.
Is that under wrap? Okay, all right. I guess that's under wrapped. So all in all, a solid, addition of Anarchy to close things out and heading into March Madness. Pretty good show.
Well, that takes us over to Savage. So, if you guys are ready, we can go into Savage.
I'm set.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
shoot.
Well, excellent. Corey, you had the first match. There was some segmenting that went on. We're going to try to shoot past any and all segmenting that we did because then it's just shameless self-promoting. But there was a nice little, it's a good little segment. I liked it. But then we get to the first match. Corey, what was your experience just role playing for this match? And what'd you think of the match and how it was written?
I thought the match itself was pretty good, and I had a really good time kind of just facing somebody who's basically a legend from yesteryear. I was really excited to do that, and I would gladly like to face him again, maybe against the legend himself.
Oh.
Corey Smith is the official gatekeeper of the XWF, ladies and gentlemen. Like you show up, you got to run through Corey first. At this point, that's the way it seems. I thought that not too shabby from Andre for his first couple of role plays in almost a decade. I thought the right man went over at the end of the day, and pretty big win. But the fact that he showed up and hung in there was impressive on from my perspective.
I was trying to, in this series that I was doing for that, I was kind of trying to needle, maybe bringing back Jason Williams. I don't know if we'll actually see that or not, but I would like to take a shot at doing that.
I'm not sure if we're going to see Jason or not. It's very possible down the line. I think that's more of a once he gets in and knocks off his rust and is ready. When I last talked to Dixon and Jason, he was kind of afraid of shitting on his legacy if he didn't come in and adapt to the new style. This is completely different management, completely different ownership. It's a whole new ball game to him. So if we see Jason, I think it's going to be once he's 100% knows what he's doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. I mean, and if that day comes, I'd welcome a chance to face him again. He seems like a good guy too. Like he messaged me after the match, so seems like a really decent dude.
He's awesome. He's a great guy. I've had nothing but great experiences with him. He's always been a stand-up dude. TK, man, what did you think about Dixon's debut taking on Corey? I mean, it was a
I mean, whenever you go up against Corey, it's you're going up against the upper echelon. Man, it sucks that he got Corey right off rip because he did a really good job with his role plays. No shit. I'm excited to see what he has to offer. It looks like a lot.
Yeah, that's he does have a lot of promise, and we all look forward to seeing what he does in the future. Um, the next match we have up is Demos and Jim Jimson up against Chris Von Braun and Scarlett Donaldson, the Misfits. And this one went to Demos and Jimson, DDS. They won by pinfall. Do we want to talk about this match?
this was just to me. This was just a bounce back from the loss to Continuum. So got back on the winning ways. DDS is at least they're sticking around and doing something.
I love DDS as a team. I think they're one of the most entertaining teams that we've got right now, and I do hope that this is something that continues. I think it's cool that Demos is doing the whole thing with RL, but I'd love to see the dichotomy between like Demos and Jim keep going.
I absolutely agree with that. Some shenanigans happened after that match.
Yes, it did. We were at the core of it though, and again, it was more segmenting. I don't want to just toot our own horn and be like we wrote this building material, but yeah, another rainbow laser death sequence hit. Chris Page didn't come out, and then we're going to shoot forward. And this is where we get to our March Madness matches. We got Jackson versus Overton. This one was a bit of a stunt. I definitely picked Noah Jackson. Kieran Overton won. Anybody have thoughts on that one?
Just that it was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I was a sad cunt that day.
He was one of my three that I picked to win. So
Yeah.
It sucks, but I hope he's having fun, wherever else he is.
We know where he is not. He is not in the Elite Eight.
That is true.
I think Kyrian is that was one of those shocking little moments that a tournament brings, right? Like there's always the
who wasn't sure by that win? Kieran Overton wasn't. Kieran Overton had something to prove there because we might have shut off at the mouth about how Noah Jackson this, Noah Jackson that. With all due respect to Noah Jackson, fine role player. Kieran Overton, nothing to sneeze at. They maybe we motivated them a little bit. Who knows? I don't want to take credit for their win, but maybe we spurred on a little bit of a fire and just lit something under them, and we're going to see more. Who knows? That would be awesome. So we move on to Diesel versus Osira, the next March. Finger poker doom. Want to keep shooting forward. Anari Karnes versus Solus Tatum. Tatum took that one. We had Wild versus Fury, which I really enjoyed reading the work from both the people involved in this match. Fury wins via submission.
Well, I think we got to backtrack for a second because I do want to touch on Solace bouncing back after the count out loss to Ozzy just a couple of nights prior to take this win from Hanare, who was the runner up last year. So that has to be looked at as some sort of kind of an upset in my eyes. TK.
Oh yeah, bouncing back from the Oswald loss to advance onto the Elite Eight. That's good news for Solace.
Corey, man, do you have any thought on that one? Because I thought that was kind of not saying that Solace by any means is a slouch, but just like on paper, uh, this had to be kind of another upset pick.
Yeah, I mean, although I think Hanari like no show this.
Oh, and hence why I said on paper.
What's that?
I said hence why I said on paper.
Yeah. So, I mean, going into it, I think he would have been the favorite. But, I mean, after he no-showed the first week, I'm like, well, see which way the wind is blowing on this one.
In
And
character though, that's huge though.
Yep.
From an in-character perspective, yeah, I mean, that's a big damn deal for her.
Yeah.
Huge. But for OOC reasons, I kind of did. Kudos to Tatum. Solis Tatum doing a lot of good things in the Fed. Jerry Borden versus Atara Themis. I'm hearing that's Ultimate Atara. Correction coming in. Atara wins this one. Keep going on down. Next match should be, it's Betsy versus Calypso. And Betsy wins that one pretty handedly. We have Ned K versus
Noah Jackson's father.
that's a Sean Warstein.
One.
It's written in front of me. I'm reading it. They meet each other in the center of the ring where they immediately tie up. They have a match. And the winner is not Ned K. It is Sean Warstein.
Mm.
Not to take anything away from Sean necessarily, but I thought Ned did some damn good work.
I actually have note right here to suck a little on Ned K's dick because that was a damn fine set he put up against Sean Warstein.
Not a bad way. Ned's been on fire, and a loss to the sick cunt that's not Noah Jackson is nothing to shake your head at. Like, he had a really good run, and this and his work here, like, he could elevate himself at any point and give anybody a run for their money if he wanted to.
Well,
It's all in.
he gave not Noah Jackson's sick cunt a damn fine run. I think that match could have, yes, that one. I think he brought the fight to him, and it could have gone either way, I think, personally.
All right. Well, moving on. We do have a segment with Demos. Then we have your main event and ours. Jenny Mist versus Dr. Phil. I think everybody on the show who picked this one, we all kind of picked this one unanimously. DeVille won by a pinfall. And that's all. And credit to Jenny Mist, for playing and having and putting in the work they did.
And shout out to Demos at the end for drawing the Elite Eight. I want to throw that out there too.
I hope that poor girl made it home safely.
Right? I hope she's just not locked up somewhere. That'd be terrible.
I thought that that Savage was a really solid show from beginning to end. It was jam packed, and there were some really good role plays that were put up for this particular show. Solid way to further head into March Madness. Obviously, like, we know who our Elite Eight are, and uh, it's starting to get to that point where it's a pick 'em. I think we all kind of have our idea of who we think's gonna win this thing. We've spoken on it before. I personally think Doc is the odds-on favorite to take the entire deal. Corey, with the people that have advanced to the Elite Eight, we know what we're looking at as far as those 8 competitors go. If you had to pick the final, which would be 2 of the 8 plus somebody from the Second Chance Battle Royal, would you pick and why?
Betsy and Doc from the Elite Eight for sure. Only because I mean, to me, I think they've been putting up the best work out of the rest. And then from that Battle Royal, the Second Chance Battle Royal, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Man, I really want to see I want to see Ned get in there and get it. I don't know if
It's a
isn't
good
it is
pick.
it an
That's a good
optional to role
pick.
play for it?
It is
I'm
optional.
sorry. Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to see Ned get in there and role play for it. If not him, I think Emos has a good chance of winning it.
So we'll say let's go with Ned because he was your first pick. So now you have Ned versus Betsy versus Doc. Who do you have winning?
Probably Doc, honestly.
There's
Which
only one
seems,
right
like
answer.
I mean, it's kind of a heartbreaker because I like Betsy's work a lot. I love Ned and what he's been doing. Doc's a savage, and I think he's the odds on for a reason.
Well, here's something that's interesting from on the Betsy Granger standpoint. She has an opportunity on this pay-per-view at March Madness to make history. If she were to win her Elite Eight, then were to win her semifinal or retain her Shooting Star Championship, and win her semifinal, then win the finals. She competes 4 times on one night, one show.
It's a goddamn good night for her then.
I mean, that makes the character, or that makes that that character. It makes that character like in one night. There's no taking that away from her, and she's a superstar. She's a main event player just in one night.
Regardless, the
that's
handler is the hardest working person in the XWF today.
Yeah,
Just so you know.
and let's
That's-
let's not also pretend like she's not already there as a main
Right.
event player. But I'm talking about like television on TV, like this she would arrive.
True. So here's the real question then. Paige, when are you giving Betsy a shot at the Universal title?
Can do that in let me backtrack, not backtrack. If I have it in July. If timeout. There's no guarantee that I'm going to have it past March Madness. And there's certainly no guarantee that I would have it in April if things go the way that they may or may not go. But the earliest would be June.
And I just had that question because Betsy is good. I think we all appreciate Betsy's work.
I think, and I do. I think that she is really, really, really good, and she's coming into her own. Like I've known Heather for decades, but I've never seen her like she is right now with this character. I've never seen her as dangerous as she is writing, and it's like she is in this zone that to me is unfucking believable.
I volunteered to face her for like the Warfare. I don't know, 3 weeks into April, and I'm really looking forward to that. I honestly think it's probably a 50-50 on her handing me my ass.
She is really fun to play with, I am telling you.
Yeah, you did get to play with them.
Yep.
You did get to trash them.
Yep, we didn't get to trash them, but they were fun to play against. So you'll have fun playing against her, I promise.
I've gotten really good at pronouncing the. This is the Palazzo del Duomo Luis Puig in Valencia, Italy.
Good job,
That
Bobby.
is
Good
damn
job.
fucking good.
Sounds good to me.
Can we? We're opening up Warfare, and I know we haven't talked a hell of a lot about a lot of segments. But can we not talk about how fucking funny Vinny's segment was for open up the show?
Yeah, if
Please
it's not
tell me
our
I'm the.
segment, we can talk about it.
Uh,
I'll talk about it just if it's not our segment.
was this not fucking funny as shit?
Mm-hmm.
It is wacky and crazy and supposed to be built as an attack, and nobody gets attacked but Vinny. It was hilarious. I thought it was good shit to kick off the show. And we roll into Ash Quinn versus Melanie Childs. Double no show here, so no shock that there was no winner. Post match, there's a little promo from uh, Kana. Or excuse me, that was at the very end. And there's a attack on Jemison. Poor Jim. Poor Vinny's car. Nothing cuckoo or crazy for real to kick it off. Uh, Next, you have segment with yours truly. Further building up March Madness. It's there if you want to take a look at it and check it out.
Tell
Um,
us about it, Chris. Tell us the creative process, please.
I thought we weren't sucking our own dicks on this show.
No, this is actually good. This is what I want you to talk about. I didn't want to suck around dicks on stuff, but this, yeah, go ahead and tell us about it.
Well, I mean, this is just the next layer of getting to March Madness. So there's a lot of conversation. And a lot of people have been asking who's Anarchy. I've had a lot of really good guesses, shockingly good guesses, and some have been very close. Within, and when I say very close, like within 2 degrees. Yeah, picture your 6 degrees of separation, but it's within 2 degrees. Um, only two people have gotten super close. This is just that hard sell, that last sell that sets it up. Like this, we see the individual shows up, and by the time the promo's over with, pops in, pops out. Nothing cuckoo or bonkers behind it, but just that little extra. I do think that, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because the storyline that I'm trying to drive here is there's a lot of moving parts to it. And with all the guessing that has come my way, I makes me feel like I've done my job of confusing everybody or some people to a degree. And that's just kind of where it was at. This is that last hard sell before we, howdy doody time, and we find out who the fuck this person is.
Is this person planning on like divulging their identity in the role plays, or is this going to be like a bombshell for the show, or you don't know either way?
I do know who it is, and I will tell you the identity will be revealed at the pay per view.
Okay.
There are. I will also tell you the same thing. I've kind of steered some folks in a direction. So I don't know. Were you were Lux when I first came back, right?
I
You were
believe so.
TV champion, yeah. So if you go back to some of the work from 2019, and I mean it's a lot of work if people weren't following the storyline, but there are seeds that were planted in 2019 for today. There's all kinds of little nuances throughout the role plays that will lead you to figuring out who this individual is. It's there. You just have to go back and find it. Um, hoping that it does what it needs to do, and it sets up some good shit for probably 9 or 10 characters, maybe more than that once it's running and it's completely up. The biggest challenge for me was getting it to this point because it's kind of hard to um sell an angle like this when you got to really be like super secret about it and really quiet about it if you want to keep the readers guessing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the other, the key thing obviously is working with people that are going to keep their mouths shut. Not blow your spot up. I've had that happen to me in other feds.
And that's a piece of it is the people that I'm working with on this angle, thank God they've kept their mouth shut. And um I really think there's only 3 people right now that know what's happening or what's going to happen. And from there we'll see what happens. It's either going to work or it's not. If it doesn't work, then sorry I wasted your fucking time. uh if it works, then phenomenal. That's just kind of where this one's at. I think when people see who Anarchy is, um it may answer a lot of questions that people may have.
But just in these last few minutes, because I haven't taken a guess at it honestly, but just in these last few minutes, I think I formulated a decent guess. And I'll message it to you privately. See if I'm
Okay.
right.
But
If
now,
it is this person,
who's your
I
guess?
I would love to
Feel
see it.
free. Who's your guess?
I mean, publicly?
Yeah.
Drew Argyle?
No, sir.
Really? Ah,
No, sir.
damn. Okay.
All right, I have a guess.
It's somebody that's interesting. It's somebody it's from my past. And the only other hint that I'll give is from my past in here in the XWF, and it's from my past in the WGWF.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about the WGWF, so that loses me there.
I'm gonna go on a limb here. It's the Cookie Monster.
It's Big Bird.
That is ratings right there.
It's
Most of people's ratings.
Big Bird. That's who that is. Um, so from there, sorry to take us on a 10-minute tirade because Bobby said we weren't talking about our own shit, and then wants me to talk about my own shit. Thad Duke taking on Sean Wild. Big win. Well, big win for Thad. Keeps the momentum building. Pretty good little match. I think Thad wrote that one, and it was what it was. He continues, like I said, building the momentum towards March Madness. We've got a Demos and Lacana segment, which is just kind of
Ailey's
going back.
also in there, and so
Uh,
is Romeo. It's a good segment. I
this
like
is
it because
it's a nice
it's
bit. It's a
yeah.
build segment. But go ahead, talk about it, man.
Well, what I like about it is it's just Demo shows up everywhere on the shows now. Like it's the Demo show, even when he's not wrestling, which is nice. He knows how to play the game. He's doing well. Good job, Demos. Shout out to those in the segment.
We hit from there. We hit one of the everything else is kind of a marquee match in my view. You've got the 6-man tag, which is uh Lacana Marth and the mystery opponent who was revealed to be Ethos, and they're taking on Heart Champion RL Edgar. They're taking on Ned K, and they're taking on Charlie Nichols, Demos, or here I guess he's here as Charlie Nichols. Corey, man, let me throw it out to you for this 6-man tag. I thought they all did pretty good with the role plays, and I think the match looks really good too.
Yeah, it was a pretty. I mean, every time you got the element of question mark as far as the opponents go, it's always a good time. I was a little confused. Is ethos like the actual identity of this person, or I thought that was like still a cover?
I think it's still a cover, but they did not take the mask off.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that it's still as the ethos character. I didn't see the mask come off during the entire match.
I know who
Uh,
Ethos is under the mask.
yeah, I know who ethos is. I think I do anyway.
It's Anarchy.
Well, it's obviously not Tim Storm because there he is at the very end. But uh, it's a really good 6-man. At the end, though, you've got Demos, RL, and Ned. Demos is picking up the win for his team. Um, taking down the big man ethos for the win. I want to throw it out post match because there's a lot going on here. TK, what do you think about this nefarious situation that we're finding ourselves in after this match?
After that match, the 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 possible heel turn, is it a possible heel turn?
Possible, yeah.
It's possible. It doesn't say it's there, but the
It doesn't say it is.
possible that
It's definitely there.
is it?
Yeah, I'm calling it. Ned's going heel.
No.
No, he's going multiple personalities, like Demos, and the Beast, and Chris Page, and Robert Maine, and Larry, and everybody.
Oh. Well, you thought you could trust a Ned K, but you can't trust a Ned K.
Well, you can, but just not the nefarious one.
Nope. Nope, can't
Nope.
do it. He could be nefarious at any moment.
One of the many faces of Ned K.
Corey, what are you thinking about this little segment spot here?
Corey, what do you think if you just came out as the engineer and the Bucks the same night?
I didn't catch the last part.
How would you feel about coming out as multiple characters?
I'm sorry, I still didn't catch. I mean,
he wants to know how you'd feel about coming out as different characters in one night.
the different character in one night.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this for the Ned stuff because I'm I'm a little in the weeds on what exactly he's doing. But I like it, but it is kind of it is kind of a say it ain't so moment because he's always been like that decent dude, that go-to good guy. I think hard scrabble good guy. And if we're losing that, I look forward to the development, but um, you know, it feels like a loss, I
Yeah,
guess.
like you died a little bit, right? That's what I was getting at. Ned K's like the prim, the proper, the good.
He's everything that is wholesome and right
That's right.
within the land of extreme. And there's a possibility that could be that ray of sunshine
Has been
could be taken
dimmed.
it could be
Ugh.
taken away from us. I don't know, man. We move on from that to the number one contendership for the tag titles at stake. Them no good bastards taking on Master Morbid. Um, let me throw this out to Corey first, because representing the one half of the tag team champions. So I'm sure that your eyes were kind of locked on this because you're determining which opponents you're going to have at March Madness. And on the back side of this, you and them no good bastards who come out on top here are kind of at a handicap because you lost a couple of days of role playing.
I don't view it that way because I was, I mean, no disrespect, I was pretty confident who was going to win. And it's a team, that quite frankly I wanted to win. I didn't really see it that way. I was planning on a no good bastards match, and that's what I got.
All right. Them no good bastards. Chat me up. Balls count anywhere. With Master Morbid. TK.
Well, I loved the flow of this match. It was a lot of fun going up against Morbid and Mastermind. I want to throw that out. That was some good stuff that we were getting thrown. The flow of the match was great. It ending in catering, where it all started, was fantastic. Bobby, take it from here.
I was proud to be a part of that match. That was a lot of fun to role play against both Mastermind and Morbid. Had a great time working with TK. Hope some people like the nonsense we came up with on the boards. Had a good time writing. Other than that, yeah, great to read the match. Looking for the pay-per-view, Corey. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And Thad, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but somebody tell Thad that it's gonna be fun.
I'll be sure to deliver that message.
We definitely had another rainbow laser death sequence in the mix. Little post match shenanigans with Paige sneaking in and getting one in on old Thunder Knuckles, kind of returning that favor. Which leads us to the main event. Extreme Championships on the line. Reggie Estrada and Alias. They came in and tore it down. And two things here. One, at the end of the day, Alias still Extreme Champion. But I want to talk about the post match segment because that's kind of where the meat and potatoes are here. The left hand comes out and basically all hell breaks loose here. And it ultimately leads to Alias signing with RMI and seemingly aligning himself with Betsy Granger and Sean Wilde just to eat the left hand, if you will. Bobby Bourbon, talk to me about this. I think this was an incredible fallout off of a pretty good extreme title match.
I think this match was very exciting. A lot of excitement. Like just the match itself was kept, between Reggie and Alias. You got that. You get the resolution there. And it was a great match. But then everything that happened afterwards was just so epic and so much fun to read. And just every word, every line, just seeing what's going on. And then it just ends. Eat the left hand. It's fucking awesome. And then a little bit after that, we also get Morbid getting a shot at the Extreme Championship, which I think is pretty sweet.
Okay.
That's something I'm looking forward to right there.
Well, yeah, that piggybacked off of obviously if you went back when you saw the finish of the tag match, Bob came in and held Morbid back. So I guess this is all Double D and Smoking Bob's way of trying to make that right. Which we're talking about this on the preview show, and this is the match that's got it's got all most of our attentions is this Alias Morbid match. It's gonna be Alias's toughest test, I feel.
For sure.
Well, that's wrapping it up for the show. So, like when we always talk about our TV, Corey, let's start with you. Of the three programs, which program had the best show this last little cycle leading into March Madness?
I mean, honestly, I gotta throw it to Savage. The March Madness stuff is always, so intriguing. Just kind of seeing all the matches, sorry, excuse me, the pairings break out. I love it. I love it. So I gotta go with Savage.
Louis Bourbon.
Gotta go with Savage. Just like again, all the March Madness. It's that time of the year. We got to give credence where March Madness is happening. That's on Savage. Good show for Savage.
Okay.
Savage is the to do. March Madness, what we've all been waiting for, pay per view to pay per view. It's all been leading to Savage. So there you go.
Can I
Well, I
say
think I
one thing
have.
about Anarchy though?
Go
Just
ahead.
because I feel like it needs to be said. Is I love how Anarchy has like this cohesiveness, with like the Sarah Lackland stuff, which is pretty funny. It feels like it's a solid compact product that's telling a story. Not only week to week, but within the course of the show, and then you've got all the Bob stuff. That's always entertaining. I need to. I feel like I need to kind of give a shout out to that too.
One thing that we were kind of chatting about earlier on another show was how uh, long-term booking uh, is beneficial in some ways, in that how Anarchy has kind of succeeded in that role. You have all kinds of little stories that are playing out over there. And Anarchy, if you're sleeping on that show, and for those out there listening, if you're not reading it, you're missing out. Like Vinny is doing some good shit over there. That being said, I do have to agree with everyone else, and I do think Savage had the better program. I thought Warfare had some really good matches on there, but at the end of the day, I think Savage and the March Madness tournament takes it, because that's just where all of the attention's at. Um, Outside of that, man, like, is there anything else you guys got on these shows, or are we good here? What's going on? What are you thinking?
Well, takeaway from the shows, they're all good lead in to March Madness and what's going to be happening there. I dug how there was that late development for the tag championship match that we waited for on Warfare. Like, yeah, role playing has already started. One of the matches we're not quite sure of, Champion's Advantage. That's fucking cool. I don't know. I think a lot of it's really good, and it's all just going to lead to, I think, a really fun pay per view for everybody. TK, what do you think?
I think you guys said it well enough.
18 matches coming our way at March Madness, guys. It's going to be fucking crazy. Lots of history has the opportunity of being made. You look from top to bottom of that pay-per-view card, it's stacked, it's loaded. We move from, our programming, our 3 shows, moving into, some more questions for you, Corey.
It is my pleasure.
You, sir, probably have. Let me start with this, because I'm only familiar with you from 2019 to present, right? Like, I think in my time frames with the Fed previously, you weren't in the mix. So I may ask you some shit that, uh, may come out left field, but it's not intended to. Like, I want to know, to start with, how long have you been role playing with the XWF in general?
Since 2017, I think.
That
Okay,
sounds
so you're like on and off only 4 years deep into this, as far as the
Yeah,
XWF is concerned.
yeah, pretty much.
That makes it even that much, your accomplishments. Let me backtrack. That makes your accomplishments that much more impactful. And let's say this, with your run in the Fed for the last 4 years, I know that you've had some breaks. So, like, I break my shit down. Like, I've been in the Fed 3 times with a total of maybe 3 years. Uh, with that That being said, like your breakdown, you've been here for 4 years. How much of that would you say would have been active?
Quite a bit. I mean, I took maybe a couple smaller breaks. I retired, which was a lie. And the breaks weren't too bad. They weren't too long.
See, that makes that to me as a from a kind of the outsider perspective, that makes the accomplishments that you have under your belt in a 4 year time period, number one ranked in the top 50 of all time, and this Fed goes back 21 years now. That's it's got to be huge. What when the top 50 came out, that's what I want to harp on first because that's fresh, right? So that top 50 came out, and you're number one on that list. What when you saw that, like, did you kind of anticipate it, or was it like holy shit when you saw that you're number one?
Well, the first thing I want to say, and I don't want to bring the show down or make things too maudlin. But like I've had an extremely tough year this past year, and seeing that was an absolute check in the plus column for me. Was I expecting it? Not really. I thought I'd be like realistically like top 10, top 15, maybe like towards the bottom of that. But number one, not so much. No.
I think that that's huge. I mean, especially when you talk about the lineage of the Fed in general and the Fed itself. And I have to put it in perspective like that. Like, yeah, it's just 21 years of writing. There have been a shitload of people that have come and gone, and here you are, 4 years deep, and you've kind of destroyed them all. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than what the fuck, because it's you're a different beast and you're a different breed. Does that make sense?
I I guess so. I mean, it's kind of funny because I've been doing this for quite a while, and uh, very few places have I actually kind of reached the top of the food chain.
Said very few.
Very few. Yeah, like I don't know, maybe like one or two other places. So I mean, I don't know if they just they didn't dig my shit because I write weird shit, but yeah, just a lot of places I never really I didn't really catch on.
Bobby, let me turn it over to you, because you've got more longevity in the Fed than I do, and I'm sure that there's work out there that you may be more familiar with than I am. Pick Corey's brain real quick.
So, hey, Corey, welcome to the show. Glad to be talking with you, sir. Especially the amount of times that you have dunked on me in the Fed. Um, I think, yeah, you've dunked on me more than anybody else in the Fed. I would have to say at this point. So, you're definitely one of my rivals in character, but out of character, it's good to talk with you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's a weird time for me. Outside of all this, trying to close on a house, got a lot of shit going on. My brain's running in like a million different directions. So, um, but yeah, I mean, otherwise it's been pretty good.
Okay.
Well, other than being starstruck as hell, uh, I'm just glad
Never,
you're doing
never,
all
never
right,
meet
brother.
your heroes.
Right? Never meet your heroes. You don't know what to say.
I
Well,
guarantee you, I will underwhelm.
well, we just touched briefly on being in the Fed for 4 years. How long have you been writing altogether, role playing wise?
I don't know, maybe like 12 years, but like the crowd that is in the XWF is like there's no overlap with like the people like that I used to write with in years past, at least as far as I know. So like when I stepped in here, it was completely new group of people, which is honestly something that I like to do every few years. Because I think you kind of get enmeshed with like a certain group, and then you want to step outside that and see how you do. And like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Worked here, other places, not so much.
How many feds have you been involved in previously? Before you kind of landed here. And I do think TK, I mean, I will piggyback off of this. Like by far, Corey, you are the biggest guest that we've had thus far on the show, and I'm really looking forward to getting your views and opinions on a lot as we move forward. But other than the XWF, you said that you've only attained the top title and a handful of others. How many other feds are there that you've kind of dealt with throughout your career?
Like total, I have
Yes.
no goddamn idea. I have no goddamn idea. I would say in excess of 10. But like some were obviously longer tenured than others. I mean, there were some places that I joined and I was around for like a cup of coffee for like 6 months before they closed down, or stuff like that.
All right, let me backtrack then. The ones that matter, like other than the XWF, like is there any other Fed out there that you could think back to and say, yeah, like I did some shit here, did some shit here.
Probably one that's gonna have like no name recognition. But years ago, it was like this really basic pro boards fed called Hardcore World. Um and I like I said, I don't think anybody's gonna know or remember this, but it was a pretty wild place. It's probably the place that I would say had the closest flavor to the XWF that I've ever been in. And I actually eventually, like, that's kind of where I started out the engineer. Like years ago, I've been playing with the idea for that character for a long time. So like this wasn't even like the first incarnation of that character, quote unquote. As far as other places, I was in 3WL, I think it was, with Madison for a little while. Let's see. Those were probably the two other like, places where I was in there for like more than a year consecutively.
Right on. I always like to figure out where people have been before because you never know. Like whoever maybe people that may be listening or us ourselves we may have crossed paths somewhere else in a different realm and didn't even know it. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I mean it's kind of a, small world, that's this hobby that we do. And I've there are people from way back when that, I would love to run into again. From hardcore world. There's or at least a good 4 or 5 guys that I think would have flourished in this environment without a doubt. And guys that I actually learned a lot from early on.
Well, let's talk more. I guess we'll talk modern era XWF. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, uh, as far as modern era, are the longest reigning Universal Champion uh, with the Engineer. Uh, am I correct there? Because I think Soldier cashed in on Maine like a couple of weeks before he was getting close to breaking your record back in 2019.
Yeah,
So
it
that
was it was real close. It was like trollishly close. I think it was almost premeditated, I guess, on his part. But yeah, it was like a matter of a couple weeks or so between us.
Well, let's talk about that because holding a belt in this game, this the age old saying is it's easier to win them than it is to keep them. So you as the engineer, you win the Universal Championship and you run with it for I mean, what 12, 14 months, 15 months? Or what was that? What was the date of that reign? Do you remember?
9, a hair over 9, something like that.
9 months?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought it was a year, but yeah, okay, it may have been 9 months. Um, but during that run, what was the crop of talent like then versus like the crop of talent now? Like, I mean, I think everyone on the cast would agree that if you were to carry the belt right now, you could carry it for another 9 months, if not longer. But with the competition back then versus the competition now, where would you see yourself being able to run long term with it again?
Honestly, I think it's tougher now. Um, if I got it, would I have been able to hold it as long? I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, no disrespect to the folks that were around back then, but I really do think it's tougher now. There's just so many quality writers out there.
Well, presently you are involved with Continuum, um, with alongside Thad and Doc. I guess collectively, you guys are the world tag champions. So, talk to us about where you guys the direction you want to take the tag division, because it seems like it's blown up since Continuum picked up the belts at High Stakes.
I mean, for me personally, I kind of like to give it a little bit of credibility. I think sometimes it's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of divisions in the XWF. There's like one team that's like seems to be dominant for ever and ever and ever, and then some other team will kind of creep up and take it, and then that's like that team and only one other for forever. And I think this is the first time that I've been here that I truly remember there being multiple teams that are credible all at the same time.
Well, you've got one team right now with them no good bastards that are on the call. So I I I want to go to Snow Job and the triple threat DLC match. Uh, it's more recent, obviously. How First of all, it was Corey and Doc. It was them no good bastards. It was Marf and Lakana. When you were reading the writing that was put up for that, were you as impressed as I mean, well, I was with the because it seemed like Lakana came out of nowhere with some really good work, and then the continuity of them no good bastards, and then I'm gonna turn it over to them and let you guys kind of go back and forth with it. But how with that? Because I think that was the first really big tag match outside of it when Rob and I had the belts. Like we really only had outside of Thad and Doc, we really only had one legitimate, you know, I feel like one legitimate challenge, and that was from Centurion and Ruby. Um, but that match at Snow Job, it was like boom, like the tag division is just instantly is going to blow up at this point. Where were you? What were you thinking when you saw the role plays that were put out for that by your opponents?
I mean, I was thinking it was a crapshoot. I no good bastards. I thought that they were really solid, and I thought it was probably um you know a total crapshoot who was going to take that. Honestly, I mean, I'm glad we did because I'm having a lot of fun with the whole continuum angle and stuff. But I honestly, again, no disrespect to anybody, but I'm pulling for facing the bastards again.
Yes.
Well, TK, go ahead, jump in on this because I mean, you and Bobby are kind of mixing and gelling, and reality is Continuum's kind of doing the same thing as far as on TV. Because is Corey, am I right by saying this is the first time this incarnation of Doc and Corey and Thad have been aligned with each other? Is that right?
Yeah, that's never happened before.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a hell of a team. It's just like three really really good people being tag champions. That's good stuff. That's what I like to go up against. Honestly.
I think I think it's your second best team.
Uh,
Yeah, I actually think it's his second best team. The best team ever was Bourbon, Engineer, Bearded War Pig, and Jack Kane, the motherfuckers.
Sorry about that one.
Well, second best.
No, didn't I I kind of screwed you guys over on a cash in, didn't I?
No, No. Everything got fucky towards the end of it, but that was all just the angle.
Okay. My memory of it is a little foggy, but know that there was an event where I cashed in on Chris Chaos because I wanted to do a tag team between Cadis and NG, which you know totally flopped because he ghosted. So those were
Gotta
good
hate it.
times. Those are what's that?
I said you gotta hate it when that happens.
Yeah, and it was funny because like my tag reign with NG was a total train wreck because I did this fun thread where like I had people like basically apply for the position after Cadis went. And I settled on Graves because I thought that was gonna be like a really fun team. And then Graves had some like really serious personal stuff, so then he had to go out, and then I was just like, "What the fuck do I do with this?" I ended up, like subbing in, NG's son character at that point, and I ended up losing him to uh, Chaos and Gilly, I think.
I don't know what to say, knowing that you've taken a loss to Gilly. I don't know what to say to that.
Oh,
That's
there is a loss, and I had a match where NG and him fought to a draw because a ring exploded. So I have a loss and a draw to Gilly.
I've lost
well.
faithfully.
Going back to like your overall XWF career, like you're upper echelon. Like that's we're not just trying to suck your dick. Like that's a fact. You've done that. Um, wise, like who has your best been? Who your best feuds been? You know, regardless of your character, or the incarnations of the characters you're using. Uh, who have you worked with that you think were like your best feuds thus far?
I mean, I'm not just saying that because he's here, but with Robbie Bourbon, that was a really fun match. When I was engineer part two. I liked working with Maine a lot. Um, early on, I think some of the stuff that I was doing, like with Madison and with Jenny Mist, was kind of fun. Where they were kind of like tossing back, victories between each other. Um, so those are the ones that immediately spring to mind. Recent match, I think facing Simpson and Demos was fun too.
Did they not surprise? They surprised me. Like I know that they could write. You know what I'm saying? Like they obviously they wouldn't have been in the position to challenge you guys. But I was really shocked by Jim's role plays. Maybe I
And
just hadn't
that's
seen a
your
real
fault.
serious.
That's
I was
your
about to say
fault.
maybe it's just because I haven't been a really big reader of his, but it opened my eyes.
The guy's literally made me laugh out loud.
Me too,
I
dude.
think he's hilarious, and I think he's phenomenal. And I want to see him win a singles title. I don't think he has, but I really want to
Nope.
see that.
Just the heavy metalweight. He's the heavy metalweight god.
Yeah, what like 20 times, something like that.
Way more than that. It's got to be in the millions at this point. He's still
He,
winning it
he's got
now from Charlie, and Charlie doesn't know it.
he's got more wins than TK has Xbox.
Yep.
Um, let's so you've worked with Maine, obviously that's something that we have in common. You've worked opposite of just about everybody, but here lately it's almost like you're the XWF gatekeeper. Anybody that signs up that's new, it's on Savage is got to go through Corey Smith first. What are your thoughts about? Obviously, I make a joke out of it that you are definitely the gatekeeper as far as the Fed is concerned.
I mean, that's not my intention. I think that's just kind of the way, the booking was going. I mean, I wanted to face Hardhead because I always, I jump at the chance to face, anybody that's like fresh or somebody's like returning who was like a big deal just because I want to see, what they're all about. Which is why I'm pretty excited about the match that I'm in now too. But yeah, the whole gatekeeper thing, I don't know. That's not on purpose, at least not on my end.
No, definitely not. I just think that it to me with the March Madness drawings and the bookings of all that. It seemed like you got Hardhead, one of the first matches he came in. Now Jason Williams is Andre Dixon. You've got his first match coming in. I think it's great because personally, you are the one of the top tier guys. So it's like put up or shut up. What do you got? Um, I say I make a joke out of it because Dixon is a friend of mine. Like we go back 10, 12 years, and he sent me a text message after the card went up, and he said, "So what's up with Corey?" And I went, "Yep, good luck. You're gonna need it." And that's all I said to him. Like I wouldn't go into any more detail. I was like, "Just good luck, bro." That's all I can tell you. Uh, so you've got him coming up on the directly in front of you. Um, with March Madness looming, you've been keeping your eyes on the tournament. I'm pretty sure everyone has. What are your thoughts with the Sweet 16 that we've got in front of us on Savage this upcoming week?
I mean, the only thing I have in mind, like honestly, is like I got a few names in mind for who I think are good candidates to eventually like win it all. Um, I to be brutally honest with you, like I'd have to take a look at the matches again. This week's been kind of crazy, so I haven't even gotten to look at that too hard. But yeah, I definitely have predictions for who I think is gonna take it at the end.
Well, let's hear it. Who you got?
Uh, my top three are Doc, Betsy.
Or Doc and Betsy.
It was Doc, Betsy Granger, and Noah.
See, we kind of were talking to RL, and it was that we're right there, but we had Sean Warstein in the mix. Ding. Uh, for a possibility with Noah in all of our top fours. Um, who do you see the final being?
I mean any combination of those three. I guess if I gun to my head, Doc and Noah.
That'd be
I love that
badass.
answer. I love that answer.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
You know who wins in
Uh,
that match?
The
everyone.
fans.
Greg.
Yes. I want to throw it over to Bobby because you guys did what I felt like was a really good Universal title match in early 2020. Because you guys were both involved in that story. Like, I want to hear about it from your perceptions. So, Bobby, go ahead.
I okay. Honestly, probably one of my favorite matches that I ever had. Corey brings it. Like you said, he dunked on me hard, but that was a good back and forth match. That was so much fun to write. Just because I like writing against Corey because one, he knows how to throw insults just as well as I do, and I always just feel like it hits my gut when I read what he writes about me, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna write back. It's gonna be great. And then and that's what we did. We just went back and forth telling stories, being silly, having fun with it. And yeah, so Corey, what were your thoughts going into that match and about that match?
I loved that match so much, and I'll tell you why. I love the dichotomy between the characters. You had Bourbon, who was like this kind of fun loving, decent, good guy. And then you had the engineer, who was personification of evil and cynicism and and all that shit. So I love the dichotomy in that match. It was fantastic. I had so much fun with that.
Yeah, I had a great time because I also appreciate writing against you because you also like delving into like current events, which makes I'm interested in writing about that sometimes too. And you don't get a lot of that. Some people would say that that style of writing can be a little too edgy. What do you think if it's handled correctly?
Delving into current events, you mean?
Yeah,
I mean, I've
with a degree of
done
sarcasm and cynicism about it.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
with a degree of sarcasm and cynicism.
Well, I mean, I played Madison, so that's pretty much all she was. I mean, I think you got to kind of have a tasteful bent to it, because this is real life stuff. Obviously, this is real people's lives being affected. So I try to bear that in mind, and not be too um, you know insulting, I guess. But I mean, I think when it's done with like a degree of tastefulness, it's fine.
All right, so
I got a question for both of you guys, real quick. Because I know when you guys, I think it was January that y'all hooked up in 2020. At that pay per view, was that just a one shot deal, or was there originally another layer to that? I've always wanted to know that because I felt like there was more to it that maybe didn't happen.
Honestly, I think that was kind of a byproduct of, I was having a hard time getting challengers at that point,
Well,
and
yeah.
Robbie Bourbon just kind of stepped into the gap, and I mean, I'm glad he did because it was fantastic. But there was somebody else at the time that I was trying to court for a match, and this individual was not interested.
Well, I mean, let's just call it what it is. That individual was me. Was it my right? Because I know you can't. You asked me for a
Oh,
match.
no, I
No,
wasn't talking about you. No,
thought you asked me for a match. Was I a
that
backup
point.
when
Maybe
you?
maybe maybe I had asked you, but I was actually talking about somebody else.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, well, I know you. I know there was a point in time where I was asked, and I was like, no, because I haven't done shit, and I would be a doormat at that point. I think. So who was it? Who was it that turned you down?
I really wanted to go at it with Fuzz, and he just cashed in on me instead.
Gotcha. I think that would have been money. That's
I
a.
thought so
Have
too,
you
but
guys have you guys hooked up like without a briefcase involved before?
never, never happened.
Never.
Oh man, Sean
Oh, I mean,
Warstein
Oh
versus
God,
the. Oh man.
if we make that happen, would you be interested in doing that?
I would be interested, sure.
Okay. All right. Benny, Theo, Sean, I know you're all listening at some point. And actually, we have Warstein on as a guest in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, that's
We'll apply that
shocking to
podcast
me.
pressure.
That's shocking because you guys are top tier. That would be a dream role play match if you guys have never done that before.
Never. I mean, the only other thing was when he was that witness character in the battle royal, and that was literally like the only contact we've ever had.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, should have never told us that. Um, so I'm gonna ride that horse. Oh, so it was just scheduled to do. You guys were scheduled to do the one off. Then I thought that maybe that there was another match that was involved with you and Bourbon that maybe didn't happen. But outside of there, more current events like your eyes are on the product, man. I think we all agree that we're kind of in the midst of a really big boom as far as writers are concerned because we've got a plethora at our disposals now. Um, what are you looking at storyline wise? Where's your head at other than obviously with what you got going on with Continuum, trying to build a tag division? Um, what else has got your focus? You've got stuff with RL, you've got stuff with me, you've got stuff with the left hand, you've got stuff with Bob blowing up. What are you paying attention to?
Uh, I used to try to plan things out like way in advance, and I feel like every time I did that, it blew up in my face. At this point, I'm trying to just focus on staying small, I guess. Putting all my effort into the tag division. Continuum. Doing kind of the character development stuff with the Dolly Waters character and Thad and all of that. I'm not trying not to plan too far down the road anymore because every time I've done that, I swear it's like blown up. Like I'd have notes written for like I want to do this, 4 or 5 months from now, and it just doesn't happen.
We were I was talking to Vinny earlier off air, and we were talking about how long-term storylines, how it's hard to try and plan something long term. But I figure like you're really only as good as the commitment from your counterpart. So I get it where you get into something and you have to either blow up in your face like you said, or shit happens and you have to move on, which is great for your situation right now because you're working with two really really fucking good counterparts on top of yourself with Thad and Doc. Um, with this being the first time that you three have I've done some shit. Um, like you guys are upper echelon guys. So I'm trying to figure out how to word my question and word it correctly. Because it's fuck it, I'll just lay it out there. Who can beat the three of you?
I mean, like I think the Bastards would stand a decent chance of doing it. Another team on my mind that's not a team, but I think right now, but I think they could do it. They used to be. I think if Lackland and Kenzie took a run at it again, that would be tough. Um, I think that would be real tough, actually. I don't know where their heads are at right now as far as what they want to do. Um, I mean, those are two teams that I think could do it. As whatever's coming down the pike, or maybe if we saw like a sick cunts reunion. Am I allowed to say that here?
No,
um,
we don't
that,
fucking cuss
that,
here, dude.
but that I mean that would be a tough one too.
Okay. Okay. Start us off with the questions.
All right, RL's got a few questions here. What are all of RL's best qualities, and why do you love him so much?
Well, I mean, the guy's writing wise, like he's literary. I mean, it's just so quality. I mean, the character development, the verbiage, the how well it flows. It's fantastic. I don't. It kind of astonishes me that he's never had a universal title run. It kind of blows my mind.
Well, he
I'm
would
not
be
just saying.
so
I'm not just
happy.
saying that. I'm not just saying that. But I really do believe it.
He's going to be so happy that you slobbed on his knob. Let me tell you.
I slobbed it good.
You
Slobbed it
did.
good.
You seem to have an endless well of ideas. Where would you say you draw the most inspiration for your writing?
Jesus. I don't even really know how to answer this question. I mean, usually, like sometimes, like if I'm doing like a reply, it could just be one thing that they said. As far as like storyline ideas, sometimes it's even just seeing an image will start to spark that creative thread. Um, some of what I do is kind of a pastiche of like different like sci-fi ideas and variants on existing ideas, of course. But it's a tough question for me to answer. It's like sometimes I just the idea it just pops in my head. I can't even narrow down, where it came from, which, I'm sure this is probably a really shitty, underwhelming answer, but it's I honestly don't know where it comes from sometimes.
No, I feel it. I do that all the time. Uh, who's your favorite wrestler of all time? And is there anyone in the XWF who reminds you of that person?
I really like this question actually. It's tough for me to name like my favorite wrestler. And I haven't actually watched, any of it in, I don't know, years and years and years. My gut says that my favorite wrestler of all time is Goldust. Uh, I fucking love that guy. I can't think of any counterpart in the XWF. I loved all the freak characters. The stuff that was like really out there. Like Mankind. Um, you know, uh, Even like some of the old school characters, like like Papa Shango, the really goofy shit. I always loved that, and I guess people that come close to like that general theme. I mean, Jimson, obviously. I think Demos is up there too, as far as kind of being like this freakish type character. Um, yeah, but there's no Gold Dust, so if anybody wants to hop on that.
All right. Who? Oh, sorry. Roughly how much time do you spend writing a roleplay? What advice would you give to someone struggling to write faster?
Oh, I mean, I don't usually have like a set amount of time it takes me. It depends on how much revising I want to do. I would say for like an average like Savage length role play, probably looking about 4 to 5 hours. Um, as far as people speeding up, I don't necessarily think you need to, I mean, unless you're consistently like missing deadlines. If that's the way you get things done, is that really deliberative, constant editing and revision process. I say it's whatever works for you.
I feel that answer. If you could build a dream stable out of any current or past XWFers, who would who'd be on that team? And he doesn't specify how large that team is either.
Um, hmm. Do I have to be on it?
Um, Dream stable. Yeah, he doesn't say you have to be on it.
Okay. I mean,
You'd be dumb not to put yourself on it. Just saying.
yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I would want the original engineer character. I would want Charlie Nichols. Um, probably Jimson, and then I would want like a straight man character. Um, like Centurion or something. I just think that would be so much fun. Um, I don't know how this would coalesce or come about, and I'm not even like gunning for like you know uh, most legendary people. I just want people that I think would produce like some hilarious material. Honestly,
If there was one thing you could change about the XWF, what would it be?
um, I mean, I definitely have an answer. I don't know how much flack I'll take for it. I
Who
think
cares about flag? Just say it.
yeah, I think you know the judging process, just making that more transparent. Like if a rubric is used, or telling people what that is. I because I brought this up privately before, and I've heard that it runs the risk of people being looking at that, and then everything coming out too samey, because everybody's trying to hit the
Hit the high
top
notes.
score points. Yeah, yeah. I don't think that's the case though, because I mean, if you keep the rubric general enough, it just shows what the Fed is looking for. And I think sometimes we get newer people in, and they don't really know what to shoot for, and then they get kind of overwhelmed and they lose and they leave. So I think it could be beneficial to be more transparent about what exactly we're looking for.
Well,
That's a good answer.
that's a good answer, and I don't think they'll be shocked by that one.
No, I don't either. I don't think anybody will give you flack over it either.
Nope.
I mean, it's your opinion, man. Like it's valid.
And the final question from RL is: which death stung worst, Lux or Dyson?
Definitely Lux, because I love doing terrible things to Madison. She's such a fucking terrible person. I honestly love, humiliating her and doing awful things to her.
All right,
Bobby.
Paige. Oh,
Yes. Hello?
Yep. Next question.
Okay.
So, the next question comes in from Vinny Lane. We do a thing here on the podcast. Fuck, Mary kill. And this week, the fuck, Mary kill is Duke, Doc, and
You see, I'm gonna try to weasel out of this because is this characters or is this handlers? As he mixed them up, and
he doesn't specify.
Why don't we listen? Because I don't want to. We don't want to do that. So, Bobby, I didn't know that he had already thrown that up there, but I asked one that's character driven. If between us, so fuck, Mary kill, CCP, TKA, or Bobby Bourbon.
I would definitely have to say fuck Bobby Bourbon. It's a no-brainer. I would marry CCP. And sorry, TK.
yes,
Only,
that's the
only
answer
'cause
I want, though.
there's a metaphorical gun to my head, so
I made it again. Yes.
In this instance, I'm cool with dying.
Bobby, do you wanna get Demos' question?
Sure. So,
Kind of stepped
You
all
know
over
what I'm
your
saying?
dick in that last one.
huh?
Since I kind of stepped all over your dick on the last one.
Well, it's long and drags on the ground. You're bound to. So Demos asks, what are your general thoughts on the tag division?
we pretty much covered that. I think it's looking really good right now, and I'd like to see that trend continue.
Cool.
Well, we've got
more coming in.
just a couple more. I mean, I don't think we could touch on Vinny's, but I think we've already covered that with the top 50 and being number one. The only other piece to that might be kind of interesting is, do you think that's correct? Do you think that the engineer is the number one role player of all time?
I honestly don't know that that's true, and that's not just me being humble. It's because there's a whole wealth of characters and years past that I just was not privy to. So I honestly can't say that that's true, just out of pure ignorance, I guess.
I'm not sure how they. I mean, I would imagine that they spoke with people in all eras of the Fed, and this is why I say, like, going back to like when we first brought you in, and just how impressive that is to be number one of all time in the top 50. That's I mean, next step for you is the Hall of Legends, and I think it's a shame that you're not already there. Uh, I say all that to say, like, I think that it is warranted. I've been in the mix with the Ranmas and the Ravens, and these guys are already in the hall. Um, you no doubt deserve that spot, and I'm not just saying that because you're here, or just based off of the work. Like, you're a phenomenal storyteller. Uh, think everybody on the podcast can agree with that. That there's no denying that you know how to tell a really good series. Which I think that's what makes you really dangerous when it comes to that uni title area, because you have that ability to tell a string of stories together that flow, and just from beginning to end it like engulfs the reader.
I try. It's I try to do something that things that I haven't seen other people do before. That's not to say, like I said, that I don't draw inspiration from TV, movies, even other characters sometimes. So I try to do something innovative and that people are going to really want to read, even if they're not facing me, I guess.
If I may,
Can Dad wants to know if he can borrow some of your anger so he could write better trash talk.
I I, I told him once that the trash talk that I do comes from, like, I don't know, I said something, some hidden wellspring of anger. That was more me fucking around than anything else. I mean, he can always borrow some of my anger.
I just don't know if it's going to help his trash talk. He opened the door for himself
He
on
did.
that
He
one,
did.
guy. I'm sorry, I had to walk through it. Go ahead, Corey. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that had that coming.
I mean, I could. Anybody wants to take any of that off my shoulders, they're more than welcome to. I mean, it's really not anger. It's more say it. It's wanting to entertain, I guess. Whatever I think is going to be funny or going to make for a good comedy beat. Stuff that'll make people laugh. That's more where it comes from. I if I write angry, I think it would actually probably come off worse. I don't mean like quality wise. I think if I was writing angry, it would be worse.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that. Well, I actually had a question. What are some of your favorite bands?
What's that?
What are some of your favorite bands?
My favorite bands. I love Rammstein's my favorite band of all time. Uh, Fucking love Rammstein. Then I also enjoy like Florence and the Machine quite a bit. Um, Even then, like, kind of drifting off again. Another genre like mindless self indulgence, just stupid rock shenanigans. Those are three that spring to the top of my head. But I also I listen to a lot of David Bowie. So I'm kind of all over the place musically.
Gotcha. So Marf asked, thank you for answering that. I was just, no, I was curious. Marf asks, what do you find easier, the story or the trash talk?
I think the story is usually easier, actually. Because that just kind of usually just kind of flows for me. The trash talk is pretty dependent on who I'm facing and how many open doors they leave for me. Where really competent writers tend to not leave quite so many open doors for me, so it can be rough. It can be rough depending who it is.
Uh, when when working on a role play, do you listen or watch anything to help with the mood, or do you prefer silence while you write?
Every once in a while, I'll listen to music. But lately, like, I've been writing in complete silence. I don't know that helps or not, but every once in a while, I'll listen to a song. I think if particularly if I'm not feeling particularly energetic or into it, sometimes the music will get me into it. But lately, I've just been writing in like complete silence, which is phenomenally fucking boring. But
All right. So, who's been your favorite person to face off against in the last 6 months?
6 months,
Yeah.
That's more like since October. I would say maybe it's some recency bias here, but Demos and Jimson, they're so much fun.
All right. Well, have you ever worn women's panties while riding an RP, and why is sky blue your go-to pair?
What was that?
I wasn't expecting that one.
I wasn't either.
Sir, Corey, our esteemed guest here on the show today. Thank you for being here again. It's a pleasure talking with you, man. You're definitely one of the stronger role players, and you're very well spoken as well. Thanks for being here. We do have the last question from Marv. I will repeat it again. Have you ever worn women's panties while riding an RP? And why is sky blue your go-to pair?
Hmm. Who said that one in?
Marv.
Well, I don't know. I'm more of a commando guy myself. As far as sky blue, I don't know. Maybe compliments my eyes.
Well, listen, guys, this really has been a pleasure. Like, it's awesome to sit down and pick the brain of somebody that is like as accomplished as you are, from writing to role playing to storytelling. Um, I am just as pleased as can be that you took the time to come on and talk to us tonight and give us a little insight of just like who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all people. And the man behind the engineer, like Bobby said it a minute ago, just phenomenal, phenomenal. We really appreciate you stepping on tonight, man.
Thank you for having me. I mean, and to be serious, the whole number one top 50 thing has been, extremely humbling. I'm not sure it's earned. Apparently, other people think otherwise. But I just want to say thank you for that. It was, like I said, definite check in the positive column for me recently.
Well, there's no doubt that it's warranted
Yes,
on all
definitely
fronts. I
deserved.
mean,
Absolutely. If anybody says that it's unwarranted that you're number one, they can go zip themselves up in a sleeping bag and then just fart and just stew in their own fart for like a good hour.
I mean, you look at that. I mean, you got engineers number one, and you got Robert Maines number two. I mean, I since I've been in the mix back full time since 2019, those are the two people that uh stand out as the the measuring sticks, if you will.
Robert Maine, if he's listening, would love to do it again.
You know
It's
he
another one.
is. Oh,
I'd
he
love to do
is.
it again.
And we need to make that happen. But before we make that happen, we got to make you and Worstein happen. I think that's our priority first and foremost.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I always felt that when I'm reading your work, you have a very cinematic style in that you know how to describe a scene very well. What would you describe some of your favorite movies to be?
Um, hmm. I mean, there's the stuff that I like because it's fun, and then there's the stuff that I like because the it's good cinema, quote unquote. I mean, on the fun, I the movie Beetlejuice, Mad Max Fury Road, shit like that. But I also love No Country for Old Men. It's a fantastic movie. Um, it's another one kind of off the top of my head, like uh, I don't know if you're familiar with um Tarsim. He did the movie The Cell, which was okay. Then he did another movie called The Fall, which were just very beautiful cinematic movies. Just with the artistry and the imagery. And Fountains also up there. Just again, just beautiful artistic imagery. Those are the ones that kind of immediately spring to mind.
I see. I see. Thank you.
Problem.
This is coming from Demos. There's a couple here. The first one we'll answer. We'll ask this one in two because there's technically two of these two characters here. Who would win in a fight, Lux or the Engineer? And then your second piece to that is Lux or the Engineer .exe.
It's not a popular answer, but I think Lux would beat First Engineer, and she got beat by the second one, so that's pretty much it.
Huh?
The next one would be who would win in a fight, Thaddeus Duke or the Workers of the World?
How many workers of the world are we talking? All of them?
It sounds like all of them.
It sounds like all of them. Yeah.
Every single one, huh?
They looked together, they met up, had a picnic, then went to go fight Duke.
I don't like Duke's chances on that one, unfortunately.
Workers of the World would take that one down, huh?
Yeah.
Going into the last question, Mr. Demos, we're not going to ask this. And guys, if you're listening, we don't do anything that would be remotely considered negative. We live in a world that's all over the place anyway, and that's not why you're listening to us. So we'll bypass that one. TK, you got the next question?
Sure do. This comes from Notorious Ned K. When it comes to your eFed work, what do you want to be remembered for? This could be a character, an angle, just a particular RP, or anything else.
What I want to be remembered as, I think above anything else, a decent person here that played the game the way it's supposed to be played without all, like the drama and backbiting, and that I was fun to work with. Not even so much any of the other stuff, just on an interpersonal level.
I like that answer. And don't worry, we all think that way. And because you're the current big man on campus, do you think you could win against Steve Jason? No wrong answers.
I don't know, because like I've never really read any of his stuff. I have no idea because I have like no frame of reference for it. I mean, if the guy, is as good as his reputation, precedes him, I probably not. But again, that's like I'm shooting in the dark.
All right, Bobby, would you like to take the next question?
Sure, sure. Well, so the next set of questions. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
I don't know. Chuck all the wood.
All right.
All the wood.
It chucks all the wood.
I don't know how to answer. I don't know how to answer that damn thing.
This again from Betsy. What goals do you hope to accomplish for Corey by the end of 2021?
I would say just being active through 2021 is enough. I'm setting the bar real low. If I can be relatively active throughout all of 2021, that's gold for me.
All right. The next one I'm going to turn into a two-parter. Who is your favorite champion and why is it me? And this is in reference to Betsy Granger.
Oh, in reference to Betsy?
Yeah.
I mean, love Betsy, but if I'm answering this honestly right now, like my favorite current champion right now is Alias.
Okay, so that doesn't explain why it's her. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go back and ask the second part of this question. Who's your favorite XWF performer, and why is it me? And this is in reference to me because I didn't understand the purpose of her question. I just know I'm not a current champion, so I didn't know if she wanted me to ask for myself or for herself. So I'm doing both.
These questions are too three-dimensional for me right now.
Well, here's one from Loverboy Vinny Lane. Name a close call or a controversial decision in an XWF match that you disagreed with. Match that you think that we got the winner wrong, and one of it, and for your own characters, and one for anyone else. Conversely, name a time where people clamored about a match result being wrong that you felt they got right.
Huh. That is a question. Um,
I can answer this one right now. And
okay.
it's not because you're on the call. It's because it's the last time that I really think something was wrong. And that was when you were cashed in on.
For me, that's I mean, for something directly related to me, I would probably say that, yes. Um, Only because, at least as far as modern history goes, I don't know about, before that, nobody had successfully predicted a cash in and then gone to such lengths to stop it. So, I mean, and some people don't even realize, actually, like, I hit a secret promo against one half of the Sick Cunts in my last promo, basically spelling out, "I know what you're gonna do, and I'm stopping you." And I did everything I could to stop it, and so I don't know. I can see, with everything that goes into those briefcases, why it would be just such a colossal, you know, wet fart of a of an ending for one to get stopped. But at the same time, it was like, man, I thought I had that far off. I really did.
I thought it was very controversial at the time, and outside of that, there's only been like a handful of times that I could really say, all right, now it's nothing, no disrespect to Noah Jackson's father, because he's nothing to shake your head at, and he's no slouch. He's he's a legendary writer for a goddamn reason. That's a fact. But that's the that when I saw this question, that was the first thing that popped in my head.
I think the way he did, I mean, I think the way the like, if you're looking at it from like a television perspective, I think the way it happened was very entertaining. But behind the scenes, like, that was a tough one for me. That was a tough one.
Now it would
Okay.
go to, well, it would go to one of anyone else either, because that's the way the question was posed.
One of anybody else? I remember, and this is so long ago now. I remember when Bruce Springsteen cashed in on Cadis, and then Cadis got his rematch against Bruce Springsteen. I remember being really surprised that Cadis didn't win it back. Um, the all the Springsteen stuff at that time, it was entertaining, but it was just weird. And I think that was around the time, like, he randomly became a woman, and I remember being surprised by that ending. Um, I will also say an ending that was in my favor that I'm not sure it should have been. That War Games, I think it was a couple years ago. It came down to, like, Lux and Tony Santos, and I think Tony Santos should have gotten it. It's not the way it went, obviously, but I think he should have gotten it.
There we go. And then the third part to that question, right, was name a time where people clamored about a result being wrong that you felt was actually right.
I mean, I guess I don't hear a lot of, like, clamoring about results being wrong, period. I guess I'm just not really exposed to that. Um, I will say this. I think by and large, the team does make, the right call. I would even say, I would give them a 90%, to 95% success rate on making the right call. Um, I can't answer that third one because, like, honestly, nothing is just springing to my head. Nothing that's sticking out. Maybe if I slept on it, I could have an answer for you tomorrow, but nothing's sticking out for me.
All right, Paige, you want to take the last questions?
I can, but we should be going to Bobby. Bobby, you got that one, or
Oh.
you want me to take it?
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Alrighty. So these are from RL Edgar. And I think these are pretty good ones. So first, what would it mean to you to be the first handler to win a universal title with 3 different characters?
I'm not sure it's gonna happen, but it would be pretty awesome. I guess it's just gonna come down to, my level of motivation by the end of the year. Not to say I'm completely unmotivated, but it's working at a whole different level to be in the Universal Championship field. So I don't know that it's gonna happen, but it would be pretty awesome if it did.
Alrighty. Um, now, who in the top? Who in? Sorry. Who in the top 10 now do you feel should be in the Hall of Legend?
You. I mean, I'm not just I'm not just tossing you off because you're here. Because I was anticipating this question. I reminded myself who I was in the top 10, and I just feel like for so long you've been really consistent. Um, you know, not only with your presence and reinventing yourself and putting out quality work so consistently. I would throw it to you in all honesty.
Aw, I'm blushing.
I'd be
I
blushing
got
too.
So,
you.
I
Isn't
feel
it
like
our
I'm
job
getting
to
okay.
make them feel good? And he's sitting
Aw,
here making us feel good?
I know.
It's
What do you
my
mean us?
honest answer, honestly. Like,
You're talking about me.
truly.
Anybody else. Sit down. No, no, no. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Thank you.
There's
Thank you.
other names that do deserve it. Gator should be in there for sure. Um, I think Maine should be in there eventually, but I think Robbie Bourbon with just like the level of consistency since I got here, and I know he pre-exists me. That's my pick.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Again, I'm honored that you think that way. We had a few other questions that we came up with, and I wanted to circle back to something that we talked about regarding Mr. Warstein and him not challenging you and how that panned out in when you were the champion as the engineer. Um, the question I have, and I might be remembering this wrong, and if I am, I apologize. What prevented you two from working? Because the story that I got was that you couldn't come to an agreement on what the RP limits were going to be for the match.
What the arc was going to be for the match?
No, the RP limits and the RP style. Because I heard that it was
Um,
an issue of word limit or RP count that was keeping it from happening.
I'm trying to think back to. I mean, I'm not going to say that's wrong because my memory is often shit. Um, I just remember. I don't remember that specifically. I'm not saying it's wrong though. It's just could be that I don't remember it.
Okay. Okay. Again, I just wanted to circle because my memory of it, because I was kind of involved with it, because I was trying to push for you guys to have the match too, because I was just like trying to push the story along, and it made more sense, and that's why I jumped in, and I that's why we had a match is because nobody else was jumping into it. So I'm just trying to clarify for my own sake. The other thing that I want to talk about, um,
Tell me more about your writing style. Tell us all about it. How do you make a scene pop when you're describing where characters are at, or how do you make trash talk just a little bit more spicy?
As far as the trash talk goes, I try to have it be something like particularly cutting. I try to bring people's history into it when it's applicable. It mostly like I just try to I like it to feel like free and loose. Like I like to feel like there's somebody, some sarcastic asshole who's really just, shooting from the hip. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but I guess that's probably my best answer for it. Um, I will like for characters that are long tenured, like I will dig into the history a little bit to see, if there's something that I can use. I will put in the effort, and I think sometimes that can be the clincher.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. TK, what do you think makes for extra spicy trash talk?
Oh man, I don't know. I'm kind of a dick in real life, so just think like me sometimes. I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's what's funny with Chris Page. Chris Page is just me under a different name. Like I don't have a problem with telling people like I can be an asshole and I can be a douchebag. I can be a dickhead. Um, I have a very firm philosophy, and that's everyone's entitled to an opinion, but unless you're paying my bills, it doesn't really matter. Uh, so trash talk with me is super simple to do. I can sit down and write, 2,000, 3,000 words in an hour if I'm motivated.
Yeah, I think it. Corey, tell me if you agree with the statement that sometimes when you're writing, you're kind of just writing yourself if you just didn't have any consequences. Would you agree or disagree with that?
That was that
I
for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not true of me. No,
Okay.
a lot of my like I don't. Most of my characters are not really based on me at all. Um, so I don't think it. Like I wouldn't say most of those things.
I got you. I introduce myself to strangers in public as my character name, and I insist that they call me that. That's how I play the game.
kayfabe is alive and well.
I I'm pretty popular down at the laundromat. They love old Bobby Bourbon down there.
That works as a name though. I mean, if I walked up to somebody and said, "Hey, I'm the engineer," they're gonna look at me like I'm fucking nuts. Bobby Bourbon works.
No, no, no. You
Fun
gotta
name. It
no, no.
rolls off the
You
tongue.
can't. You can't watch. I can walk up to people and tell them I'm the engineer and have it work. But I think you have to be in the right clothes. Like if you got in like some steampunky ass looking clothes, or if you dress like Willy Wonka, you just need a
Hmm.
top hat and just tell people you're the engineer. I think it would work in like the right settings.
If you can get that to work, get it on film.
I will, but you got to think outside the box on it. You can't just go door to door. You can't just like dinner time, middle of dinner time. I'm the engineer. That's totally gonna blow them off guard. The bus stop probably not a good call. But go to like a goth club or like a nightclub and just tell them I'm the engineer and be really esoteric about yourself, and they'll believe you.
You see what you started, Corey? You see, you see what happens when you poke that bear.
Mm.
We got a couple of questions. These are some general odds and ends. Corey, you're welcome to jump in on these. We don't have to ask all these. We can just ask a couple, and then we'll close her down. Unless you've got anything else, Bobby.
No, 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 that's about it. I'm just trying to have
Oh,
fun with you guys.
I'm gonna start this one with you, TK. This is from the thread that just general towards us, and this one's coming from Ned. Um, I'll start with you, TK, then we'll go to Bobby and Corey. If you want to get on them, you're welcome to. What's your favorite angle to be involved in, TK?
Uh, I would have to say it's cracking Robert Maine in the head with a baseball bat. That's probably the best thing that ever happened to TK.
Bobby Bourbon?
I would have to say the finest angle I've been a part of. I've been in a couple really good ones. Um, the one I did with Raven, where we actually had we headlined 2 pay-per-views. I mean, he no-showed one, so it didn't really count. We had the second one just so he could, save face, and I don't know. But I'd say working with Raven was pretty sweet. That was the
Corey?
biggest one for high profile.
Corey, what's your favorite angle that you've been involved in?
I don't know if it's an angle because it's kind of contained, like self-contained in RPs. I'm having a lot of fun doing what I'm doing now. With the whole dynamic of Continuum having the black sheep, that he despises. Just all the interplay between the Dolly Waters character. That's a lot again, like very RP, self-contained. Um, I'm having a lot of fun doing that now. Aside from that, a lot of the stuff that I did, especially early on, was not as angled as I wanted it to be, and that's kind of something that I would like to change in the future. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think what I'm doing now is probably like honestly what I feel the best about.
With me, this is. I guess I'll keep it to within the realm of the XWF. Um, I would say that I've come in on some really good angles. I think the from my perspective would be when Raven got in touch with me to come back and do war games against Apex. I thought that was a pretty good angle, and it led into some really good stuff with Robert. Um, the next piece to this question is what's your favorite show? What has been your favorite show within your time within the XWF? Okay.
Saturday Night Savage. It's what it was the push TK needed, pretty much.
Bobby?
Well, favorite show? Probably. Oh, geez. It would go all the way back to, I want to say, my very first pay-per-view in 2015. I know that's dated as hell, but that was, it just has a special place in my heart because that was the first time I ever main evented a card. And it was a pay-per-view card. And that was like the first night. I want to say it was Relentless 2015, something like that. But that was a great show, top to bottom. I mean, loaded stack card. I mean, names that are no longer with us, for good or better or worse. But yeah, I miss that show. Don't miss it. I just, that was my favorite to be a part of.
Corey, where you
Okay.
at with that one?
Yeah.
If we're talking weekly shows, definitely Savage, just because I kind of feel like I've had some of my most fun on that show, and because the RP limits for Savage kind of like hit my sweet spot, especially when I'm busy.
Mine's gonna be pay-per-view, and it's gonna be the Leap of Faith 2019 pay-per-view. I believe that was where Robert and I did our first one-on-one. Uh, I think that match and role playing for that cycle kind of opened the eyes a little bit of the the handlers here as to what I was capable of as far as writing was concerned. Um, this last piece of this Ned question is kind of a no-brainer. We can totally establish a match of the month for the podcast. I think that's an easy request to fulfill. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, yeah, I can chime in and tell people what I thought was the best match of the month.
Yeah, I could do that.
It's not complicated. There you
Yep.
go.
I mean, as a listener, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that at all. I think, especially being that sometimes, match writers' achievements can be, not quite given the credence that they're due.
It's always been said it's a thankless job, and it is. It takes a lot of time to sit down and write matches out, and really and truly, like if we don't have the match writers, then we don't have a show, right? So they deserve props, definitely. Without them, we don't have a product.
As somebody who is like an occasional match writer, like really occasional now, I've always felt that I sucked at writing matches, and then I see like some of the ones that other folks put out, and I'm just like, God damn, like this needs some kind of recognition.
I think I've always kind of gotten off on the match writing aspect of it more so than the role playing aspect of it. And piece of that is because in my own mind, I feel like you get more eyes on the match than you do the role play. So, and I tend to thrive with like the bigger, big fight feel matches because that's just what I sink my teeth into. Like if I was to get an engineer Warstein match, I would jump on that in a second because I know I could tell a really good story within the flow of the match itself. Um, if I get people like what was the one on Anarchy? Was Miss Fury and was it Fury and Kinsey?
Yeah,
I
it was
want to say
Fury and
that.
Kinsey.
Like when you see people like that who are putting their best foot forward and trying to like do their shit and deliver some shit, it just makes me want to deliver that much more.
All right. Do we want to do any more of these questions? Corey, do you want to ask your question of us right here since you're here?
The book question.
Yeah.
I just posted a question, asking each of you guys, what your favorite book is and why.
All right. I guess I can just jump off. Go read Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk right now if you haven't read it. That's my favorite book. It's amazing. If you like reading an E-Fed, you will like reading Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. But he's the guy who wrote Fight Club and Choked. This is my favorite work of his. It's phenomenal. It's hilarious. It's brilliant. Go read that.
He's an author I'm kind of embarrassed to admit I've never read, and he's always seemed like somebody that would be somebody that I would really gel with as a both as somebody who writes and as somebody who appreciates a good book. Never read anything by him.
Yeah, check that out. Did you ever see the movie Fight Club?
I did, yes.
All right. Did you appreciate the humor in it?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, go read Haunted. You'll like it.
Okay.
I'm more of a biography guy. I've got a hidden love for Stevie Nicks. So Gold Dust Woman uh, is written by Stephen Davis. And he did a really good job telling the story of Stevie Nicks. And if you haven't had a chance to like dive into Stevie as a performer and the trials and tribulations that she's been through, that was amazing.
Well, mine's pretty simple. The Cat in a Hat. The cat wears a hat. No, I'm kidding.
What's the
I'm
real
kidding.
answer?
I'm kidding. the real answer is The Last Dawn by Mario Puzo. I really like gangster books. I don't know why. I just really enjoy them.
Well, I mean, I think, guys, Corey, is there anything else you got for us, man?
No, I was just gonna ask if is it Last Dawn or Last Dawn?
Last Dawn. Don. Dawn.
Oh,
Delta, October, November.
We this will tie a bow on our episode tonight, guys. Corey, man, we appreciate you coming in and talking to us and chit chatting with us about the ongoings of the Fed, man. You a great guest to have on the show. We'll definitely want to get you back on down the line, man.
thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. You're on a what's your favorite book and why?
I knew I was gonna get this one thrown back at me. That's tough. I like a lot of like weird sci-fi, weird fantasy. There's an author named China Miéville who is like a king in that genre. But I guess if I had to pick one book that just blew me away, probably Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
All right, check that out wherever books are sold.
Barnes and Noble.
TK, man, Bobby, you guys want to tell Corey goodbye, man?
Yeah, thanks for being on, man. Goodbye, Corey. Look to talking with you later and playing with you later and fun. Have a good one, man.
Thanks.
Corey, it was a pleasure having you on. Great to talk to you. I can't wait till March Madness. You're going down, sucker. Anyway,
I think there's
Make that
only
happen.
I think there's only one real way to close this one out, and that's with some words of wisdom from our very own lover boy Vinny Lane. Vinny, take it away.
All right, guys. Well, once again, for today and forever, as always, fuck you, Ghost Tank.
Thanks for listening to the XWF podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the XWF YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at XWF1999. And don't forget to check us out at XWF99.com. Be sure to join us next time where the action never slows down.